And then I have one more story for you guys regarding this mom inciting a riot. All right. So make sure you guys are indeed coming into the video. You're liking up the video, all of that. And let us go ahead and get right on into it. First off, I want to talk about divorce in the black. Okay. I don't know why in my head was I thinking divorce is the new black. Either way, girl. Divorce in the black. First of all, the title itself for me personally, it is kind of stupid. I was like, divorce in the black, what do you mean? It took us a minute to go throughout the movie to find out what it meant. And it seems like Megan wanted to get to a place where she was able to just start over. I honestly can't even remember her character's name. I think it was Ava, but basically her husband was so terrible to her that when he finally wanted a divorce, she wanted to be in the complete black. She didn't want to be in the gray area, in the white area. She just wanted to be in the black so she could rebuild her life all over again. Now, the movie is just weird. I just felt like it was missing so many different elements. Like, we didn't get backstory. We didn't understand how they got together, why they together, the reasonings, why he's so abusive, what has happened. Like, it hasn't been giving. It's giving kind of like a play in a sense. It's like a play where there may be some details missing and you're just left to kind of like create some things on your own to get an understanding of what's happening in the film. And when you have an actor like Megan Good, who's been around for a long time, I don't know, I just would have expected a quality script to follow along with it, and it just wasn't that great to me. And that's just my personal. Y'all can leave your personal down below. Now, there were two different breakdowns of the what the movie was about, which was interesting because when I saw some of the trailer, let's get into that. When I saw the trailer didn't really give what the movie was about. I wasn't expecting them to be in an old town and all of that. Like, it was just weird. Girl, I fell asleep on it the first time. Let's just be right out the gate. I fell asleep probably 30 minutes into it. And then I probably woke up however long later and decided to go back to where I was and finish up where I left off. And then I saw that it was like an hour and a half left. And I'm like, girl, wait a minute. So this whole movie is 2 hours long. The acting is giving mediocre. And it's not really the actors that are mediocre. I feel like it's the directing that makes the actors mediocre. It just was not that damn great at all. First of all, they started it off over the top. With the whole casket situation and the whole mom being upset like she ain't want nothing from them, but we didn't understand what is the mother's beef. If we're gonna open the movie up about this mom and her having an issue with this young lady's family, and this young lady happens to be married to her son, then explain to us what's the beef. How did the person in the casket pass away? Could we possibly even know that? Why did her family feel the need to financially help and support them? I mean, is it because they ain't got no money, or is it because they feel like they owe them or some sort? Like, what's really going on? So they say that Ava, excuse me, which is Megan's character, they're saying Ava, a young bank professional, is devastated when her husband abandons their marriage. She's determined to fight until fate intervenes, revealing the wicked deeds that once upon a time sabotaged Ava's destiny to connect with her soulmate. I didn't get really none of this. Like, what were the wicked deeds that once upon a time sabotaged? Like, what were the wicked deeds? What was it? They didn't tell us that. She was a young bank professional. Girl, I thought she worked at a jewelry store, a very expensive, high-end luxury jewelry store. I'm like, oh, she was a bank professional. Why didn't I catch that? Why didn't I? That didn't click for me. Okay, her husband abandoned their marriage. I'm like, did he really? When I hear abandon, I mean, I guess you can be in the marriage and not just be interested or whatever. But I mean, he was just more of a drunk. Did he abandon the marriage? Because even after the damn marriage was over, he still was running behind her. Like, it was just stupid. Stupid, 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 stupid. Then they have another one where they say another description that says Ava's husband, Dallas, leaves her heartbroken as he deserts their marriage. Dallas' malicious actions unravels as Ava gets a chance to find true love with her destined soulmate. Is he really her destined soulmate? Like, I just, it just seemed like plots and points were missing. Like 20 minutes in, or maybe 15, I remember saying, I was like, something's off. Something's not connecting. There needs to be more development. I'm not sure if it's character development, the story development, and I think it may have been a bit of both. Okay. but there was some, it was seriously lacking development. Like that, it still left us with questions of like, what's the issue? Like, what was the issue? Of course, we learned, and these are spoiler alerts, so sorry, y'all. Fast forward. But of course, we learned that her husband had to clap his daddy. And he said his mama made him do it. But then later on in the movie, we hear that he clapped his dad because his dad was abusive to his mama or something like that. So I'm like, well, which one is it? Did you clap your dad because you wanted to clap the dad? Or did you clap the dad because the mom made you clap the daddy? Like, what the fuck was really, like, it was just, no, ma'am. No, ma'am. The movie has a 54% on people that like this movie. It's literally a 4.5 on IMDb. It's a 4 on Screen Rants, Rotten Tomatoes. I think it was like 0%. I saw an article where they were saying that they've been given 0%, which is giving really very bad. Okay. And also I think the overall rating though was like below 4. Like this is, it's just it's terrible. They said a critical disaster with a 0% score on Rotten Tomatoes is what this film is giving. It was just horrible. I'm trying to, I mean, like, I will say the acting was good. Excuse me. The acting was good from Megan Good. The acting was also good from Taylor Polidor, um, which played the best friend, Nora or Rona or something like that. But the best friend, her acting was pretty good. Um, yeah, it was just not. Mm-mm. It just was stupid to me. Y'all gotta let me know your thoughts. Like the mama going up there on the first day, upset, taking her clothes off in the church because she don't want nothing from them. So much so she made the sons get the body up out the bed, out the casket and bury it on her land, and everybody walking around like shit is normal. Like it's just real weird, real weird. Bumped into a dude that used to be her, I guess, ex-boyfriend or whoever the hell he was at one point, and the brothers jumped him back when he was younger, and girl was just stupid. Either way, of course, she ran back to the arms of him. Somehow they connected, but I mean, the movie was just dumb. Like it just, I just didn't understand, how did we get here? Why does the family not like him so much? What else? Like, did he start out as a good guy and then he turned all of a sudden? We never found out what the hell this man did for a living. We didn't understand why she signed the divorce papers and was so adamant about signing it. And the way that y'all, like, well, we knew why she signed the divorce papers, but the way that they shot the scene when the man kept advising her to have an attorney with her before she signed, she was so dead set on signing it to be done with him that I thought that she was signing away her life. I would have rather have seen her sign them documents, and then at a later time we see, oh snap, girl, you done signed your house over to that man. You done gave this man your house, like, oh, he owns this, he owns that, he owns all of your property. Like it was just stupid. And then only for him to get a divorce, and he's still harassing her because he couldn't believe she signed the divorce papers so fast. We over here seeing that he's getting pictures of her hanging out with the ex and stuff, and we thinking it's one of the brothers. But then at the end of the movie, when he's sitting with one of the brothers, he gets another text, and I'm just like, well, who the fuck is texting him these pictures? Like, who is sending him this stuff? um Corey's acting. Corey, I don't care what nobody say. First of all, I do feel like you might be playing a bit of who you are in real life. I do. Like you often play these weird kind of controlling, manipulative type of roles, and it really doesn't do you any favor as like a actual individual, because a lot of us assume that that's who you are in real life. Okay. I wish that you would stop allowing yourself to be typecasted in that way and go out and seek out other roles that could enhance you as an actor. Okay. It just was not, it wasn't given. Like, the same hand movement, putting his hand up in somebody's face. Honestly, it was giving, in my personal opinion. I know that Corey did an interview and he talked about how he did a little bit of improvising at the top of the film. And then I think Tyler told him to cut it out, like, we'll get there. And then at the end of the film, he may have done a little improvising. He said, no, baby, it was giving you improvise the whole film. That's what it was giving. It was giving you improvise the whole film. You had an understanding of what your lines were and what you were supposed to be doing in that scene, but you didn't really stick to the lines. And some directors are okay with that. But it really gave that you improvised in every fucking scene that there was. Okay. And I found myself not being upset with his character at all, really. or even upset with her character for staying or anything like that. I found myself being upset with me for sitting up here watching this bullshit because it's terrible. It's a terrible fucking film. And I'm really disappointed. Like Tyler Perry, I think he's good at making money. He's good at paying his actors accordingly. But I also feel like you playing in the big leagues. Like you should, in my opinion, you need to you're gonna have to bring more. You're gonna have to bring, like, you're gonna have to do a little more. I don't know who's writing. It's the continuity that was off for me. It just was not flowing. Like the characters say one thing and you'll keep that in mind, and then as the movie is progressing, they'll say something completely different that contradicts something that they said earlier on. And I'm like, what's up with the continuity? Like there is something that is off. I'm not really featuring it, but y'all let me know how y'all felt about it, because some of y'all may have actually enjoyed it. Y'all may have actually liked this film. For me, negative. Okay. I'll never watch it again. And if I could rate it, I will give it a 1 star because that's the lowest that I could give it. All right. Just was not the mama having animosity for what? You know, at most it really showed how mamas, baby their damn sons or whatever like that, and how manipulative they can fucking be when it comes to their damn kids and stuff. And it's just like, girl, it was just trash. And then this was stupid, y'all. Why the daddy got shot in the damn leg? And then what was it? He got shot in the leg. They put him in the car. Somehow he made it to the car, whatever. It was something about him being in the hospital. Something happened before the moment I'm about to mention, but I can't remember. But the daddy got shot in the leg. Okay. They was all in the hospital. They was getting ready to go. He wanted to walk. And they was like, oh, you know that you can't walk. You're still such and such. And it's like a person that just got shot in their damn leg or kneecap or whatever ain't thinking about doing no damn walking. Like, it was just stupid. It was stupid. You had good, well-known actors in this, but the director, in my opinion, the writing and the director is what made this film subpar, very bad. Okay, which also made the acting bad. And I know a lot of people, I saw a few people saying something about the acting and it not being good and this and that, and saying how horrible Corey was and stuff. And it's like, I've seen Corey do better. So if I believe that Corey can do better in his acting, I'm inclined to believe that it's the director. Different, you know how they always say different men and women bring out different things in men and women. Same thing with directors. Different directors can bring out different things in different actors. Okay, based on what the film is about, how they want it to be seen, the shoot style, all of that. Okay, they know what they're looking for, and different directors can do different things, because all of these actors are not bad. The main characters from what we saw, you put them in a different film and they may just do extremely well. That's because they're working with a different team and a different directors. I hate to come down on Tyler Perry, and I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's a black man this, like, we got to support a guy. I ain't got to support a goddamn thing. Okay, I could call a thing a thing. If y'all want to accept mediocreness from us, that's on y'all, but don't fault other folks for wanting and expecting a bit more. Period. This many years in the game, we expect more, and I feel like there's absolutely nothing wrong with expecting more. Okay, so leave your thoughts and comments about that, girl. Let's go ahead and move on. All right, y'all. So let us talk about Alec Baldwin, okay? Because what they are letting us know is that Alec Baldwin has finally had his case dismissed by the judge, okay? Y'all know he had that trial that took place. He was on set. I believe it took place in New Mexico when he was on set, and I believe it was in 2021 of October. It took place on set in New Mexico, and he was supposed to be doing some type of shooting scene of some sort. And in that scene, he ended up, unfortunately, unaliving somebody that was on the team there. Okay. And it resulted in this. I actually want to get into a little bit of this article over here on the Hollywood Reporter. So let us go ahead and get that up so that we can check it out. Okay. Let us do that. All right, let's hop over here and let's scroll down just a bit where they're saying here that the shooting occurred inside a rustic New Mexico church at roughly 1:40 October 21st, 2021. Okay, they said it was an old-fashioned revolver that Baldwin was handling. It went off as he was rehearsing a cross-draw maneuver. They're saying prior to that, Assistant Director David Halls handing him the loaded weapon, pronouncing it cold, an industry term to signify there was no live ammunition inside. The revolver discharged in the direction of Hutchins, who was killed, and the director, who was also injured. Okay, they said 5 live rounds mixed in with dummy rounds were found on set following the shooting. It remains unknown how they were introduced. Okay, now they're saying that the road to the filing of charges against the actor was long and winding. He was initially charged in January of 2023, with prosecutors alleging that he should have assumed the gun he was holding was loaded, okay, with live rounds. Known that the first rule of gun safety is never to point it at, point the gun at somebody you don't intend on shooting. All right. They said the charges were dropped 3 months later when New Mexico prosecutors announced a new investigation into whether that gun that discharged could have been modified to fire without a pull of the trigger. They were then refiled in 2024 after a forensic expert issued a report clashing with an account of the shooting from Baldwin, who maintained that he didn't pull the trigger. All right. Now, Helena Hutchins, which is the woman that passed away, her husband, who sued Baldwin and the other Rust producers for wrongful death in 2022, agreed to a settlement later that same year. Okay. He has recently reopened his case against the producers because settlement payments have not been made. All right. Seems like he may have gotten his payments from Alec, but have not gotten his payments from the producers. Now, upon Baldwin's case being dismissed Friday, they said Matthew Hutchins' attorney, Brian Panish, issued a statement saying that we respect the court's decision. We look forward to presenting all the evidence to a jury and holding Mr. Baldwin accountable for his actions in the senseless death of Helena Hutchins. Now, rest in peace to Helena Hutchins, because that is so sad to go to work that day doing a job that you absolutely love and it result in your death. I feel so bad for her family. I believe she had children, her husband. Like, that is just devastating. That is just so freaking sad. Like, I really hate that. And it does seem like to me that it was all, from a simple mistake, in my opinion. Okay. I don't feel like Alec should have been charged in that case. And that's just my personal opinion. They typically have people that handle those props and stuff that gets things ready, before you go out there, you just pow, pow, pow. And obviously it's supposed to be blanks. So I feel like him handling that, I don't think it should have solely been on him, because he's expecting it to be pre-checked before it gets to him. So I feel like accountability really should have been on the person that was loading the item, checking it, making sure it was blank and all of that. Okay. Because actors, in my opinion, they got a lot of things that they're thinking about. So everybody has a role to play when you're on set, and and you're trusted for that role. Okay. He's making sure that his aim is right. He makes it look realistic. He's making sure his steps are right, for camera purposes or whatever, acting, knowing his lines, all of that. There's a lot that goes into it. So to put that on him, I do feel like that is a bit messed up, but I also understand why, because it's a situation kind of like that. It's not the same exact thing as Jonathan Majors, but it puts me in the mindset of how Jonathan had those 4 charges, right? And 2 of them he didn't get because they did not believe that he intended on harming her. Same thing with Alec. Alec did not intend on harming her, but Jonathan was found guilty on the actions that he did caused injury. So because of that, you're guilty because it did cause injury, but we know that you didn't intend to. So it's one of those things with Alec, like, we know you didn't intend to kill her, but what you did lead to her death, but either way, he ended up being, the case ended up being dismissed. Okay. Baldwin, they said, the judge dismissed his involuntary manslaughter case with prejudice. So with prejudice, from my understanding, means that he cannot be retried for this. I don't think he can. It won't be showing back up in the courts at all. So it'll be what it is. And I do want us to check out exactly what they had to say about that. So let's get into it.
Dismissal with prejudice is a very extreme sanction. And case law is very clear that because it's very extreme, I have to go through every single element, and I have to make a very good record as to why I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So in order to establish a Brady violation, the defendant must show that the prosecution suppressed evidence, the evidence was favorable to the accused, and the evidence was material to the defense. So let's go through the elements. Suppression of evidence. The definition of suppression of elements, this is Case versus Hatch, is while the first element requires proof that the prosecution suppressed or withheld the evidence in question, it does not require a finding of bad faith or any other culpable state of mind on the part of the prosecutor. This prong is satisfied. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office and the prosecution failed to disclose the supplemental report to defense and provide defense an opportunity to inspect the rounds collected into evidence that Mr. Teskey gave. Is the evidence favorable to the accused? The second Brady element is whether the suppressed evidence was favorable to the accused, either as impeachment or exculpatory evidence. This prong is satisfied. The suppressed evidence is favorable to the accused. It is impeachment evidence, has even been offered in this trial as impeachment evidence, and is potentially exculpatory to the defense. Critically, the exculpatory value cannot be analyzed at such a late juncture because of the non-disclosure. Is the evidence material? While post-trial discovery of evidence under Brady requires a reasonable probability that the result of the proceeding would have been different, discovery of evidence during trial requires an evaluation of whether the late tender has impeded the effective use of evidence in such a way that it impacts the fundamental fairness of the proceedings, and that is State versus Huerta Castro. This evidence is material. The late discovery of this evidence during trial has impeded the effective use of evidence in such a way that it has impacted the fundamental fairness of the proceedings. The defense is not in a position to test the state's theory as to the source of the live rounds that killed Ms. Hutchins. I'm also going to take a look at Harper, State versus Harper. The assessment of sanctions depends upon the extent of the government's culpability, weighed against the amount of prejudice to the state, quoting Chenard. Let's go through culpability. Our case law generally provides that the refusal to comply with a district court's discovery order only rises to the level of exclusion or dismissal where the state's conduct is especially culpable, such as where evidence is unilaterally withheld by the state in bad faith, or all access to the evidence is precluded by state intransience. The state is highly culpable for its failure to provide this discovery to the defendant. The state unilaterally withheld the supplemental report. Santa Fe County Sheriff's Officer made the decision, and apparently also with the prosecutor, pursuant to Hancock's testimony, that the evidence was of no evidentiary value and failed to connect the evidence to the instant case. The case agent, as well as pursuant to Hancock's testimony, Ms. Morrissey, was aware of the new evidence and yet did not make an effort to disclose it to defense. The state's willful withholding of this information was intentional and deliberate. If this conduct does not rise to the level of bad faith, it certainly comes so near to bad faith as to show signs of scorching. Prejudice. When discovery has been produced late, prejudice does not accrue unless the evidence is material and the disclosure is so late that it undermines the defendant's preparation for trial. The court concludes that this conduct is highly prejudicial to the defendant. The jury has been sworn, jeopardy has attached, and this disclosure during the course of trial is so late that it undermines the defendant's preparation for trial. There is no way for the court to right this wrong. Lesser sanctions under Harper. Trial courts possess broad discretionary authority to decide what sanction to impose when a discovery order is violated, State versus Lemire. The sanction of dismissal is the only warranted remedy. The jury has been sworn, jeopardy has attached, and a mistrial would not be based upon manifest necessity. Further, the sanction of dismissal is warranted in this case. The state has repeatedly made representations to defense and to the court that they were compliant with all their discovery obligations. Despite their repeated representations, they have continued to fail to disclose critical evidence to the defendant. Brady and Harper are satisfied. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted. Court also has power, inherent power. Per State versus Lemire, where discovery violations inject needless delay into the proceedings, courts may impose meaningful sanctions to effectuate their inherent power and promote efficient judicial administration. The state's discovery violation has injected a needless, incurable delay into the instant jury trial. Dismissal with prejudice is warranted to ensure the integrity of the judicial system and the efficient administration of justice. Your motion to dismiss with prejudice is granted.
Wow. Wow.
Now, with respect to the jury, I don't imagine you all want to return on Monday. I will take care of the jury.
Thank you.
We are in recess.
Wow. All right, now y'all saw that. Okay. So Alec is he's free to go. He is free to go. Y'all know he pled not guilty, right? And if he would have been convicted, he would have been facing up to 18 months in prison. Okay. He said he did not pull that trigger. He said he did not pull it. He says, or did he know why it contained live ammunition? Now, how she got popped or whatever, I'm not sure. You would think it came from that. So I'm like, so what happened? Did it just fire on its own? I don't know. Okay. But what we do know is that he will not have to face these 18 months in prison. This man is free to go. I always thought that something happened with the young lady that was responsible for loading that. I thought that she may have gotten in trouble. I believe that she did. Don't quote me, but as far as him, it looks like he is good to go. So I definitely want to hear you all's thoughts on this situation and whether or not you think that he should have definitely been held accountable for anything when it comes to the death of this woman. And if he should have served any time, or if you feel like they made the wrong call to begin with to even charge him with involuntary manslaughter. All right. So that's all I got on that situation. You guys can leave your thoughts and comments on that down below. Okay. Now, next up, I want to talk about this woman by the name of Stephanie Pareso, if that's how you say her name, honey, because let me tell y'all, Miss Ma'am was supposed to be having like a party for her daughter at a skating rink, right? But I believe what happened was with that situation, I don't believe that she got the deputies or something like that. She was supposed to secure the deputies for the event and she didn't really secure it. So it seems like there may be some accountability on her behalf as to why the party did not fall through. Okay. I believe it ended up being some type of breach of contract where she blamed them. And then she got like all these people that were at the skating rink to like show their ass and start tearing up the people. So she ended up getting arrested for inciting a riot. Okay. So we definitely have to get into that real quick. Like, okay, so let's check this out over here on the New York Post. They're saying Florida mom denies instigating 500-person skating rink riot after daughter's party was canceled. Okay, they're saying a Florida mom was charged with instigating a 500-person riot at a skating rink, refused to accept any blame for the mayhay. Okay, the melee, mayhay, all of the drama of it all. Okay, she said it had nothing to do with my daughter's birthday party being canceled. I know that for a fact, she says. Okay, now she was arrested Thursday for allegedly causing the chaos at this particular skating rink after the rink canceled her event on May 17th over a breach of contract, which sounds like it was on her end, but she over there showing her tail. So they said that Stephanie was issued a refund the day prior to the party, y'all. But she was pissed off and reportedly called on her daughter's friends through social media to still show up and tear this bitch up, in her words. Okay, I'm just telling y'all what they said, and they did. In the words of Miss Kenya Moore, and you did. All right. Now, it took around 6 hours for police to contain the riot. They arrested 23 minors and 6 adults at the scene. Now, 5 local businesses sustained damage during the frenzy. What a fool she is. They said that Stephanie said it's not unusual for there to be mayhem at the skate club, and it was an easy excuse to blame it on her. She says it'll be proven in court that it's false. So this is what she's saying. I hope that it's going to be proven in court that it is false, ma'am. Okay. One of the groups participating in the riot attacked a juvenile inside a neighbor barbershop, which is crazy. The owner of Astro Skate said the riot was incited by Stephanie. So that's what the owner is saying. Now, he says that his 43 years in business, this type of incident is rare. Okay. For things like this to happen. He believes that she had something to do with it. Okay. They said that she rented the skating rink out from 11:30 that night to 1 a.m. for what he believed was an elementary school age party. They agreed to a price of $400 for 50 kids for the first 2 hours and then $7 a head after that. Right. Well, the staff started seeing Stephanie advertising it as a teen dance and charging people $15. Girl, that definitely sound like a finesse to me. Now, the club canceled the party and refunded this woman her money, pointing to violations of her contract. Now, she didn't let the rink approve advertising that she sold tickets for more than the rink sold them to her for. And she refused to hire off-duty deputies for this event. See, that's where I feel like you really messed up, was not hiring these deputies. And I do feel like if y'all charged her, so let's say, like y'all said $50, I'm sorry, $400 for 50 people. That was a contract between y'all. Cool. You said $7 a head after that. I feel like if she decided that she wanted to overcharge people that price, if she did like an event bride or anything like that, people cashed app or however they did it, and she wanted to charge them more than what y'all was charging, I feel like, in my opinion, that was okay because y'all was still going to get what it is that y'all was supposed to get anyway. Okay, I just think that she should have gave a clear estimation of how many people were expected to be in attendance. So if she's tell them like, hey, we charging $14, but she said $15 a head, y'all getting y'all $7, I'm getting my 8, I'm gonna make my money back and then some. I really don't see nothing wrong with that. But when you decide to have these people kids at an event and you are not trying to get any type of officers or anything to secure the space, hell yeah, breach your contract. Like, you got to go. You making us liable for all of that. No, I think it should have been a cap at 100 people. If that's what their capacity is, we'll give you the first 50 for 400, and then after that, it's gonna be $7 a head for the other 50. Okay, or however much it's gonna be after that for the other 50, but the cap stops at 100 or one. Like, that's what it should have been, and you need to have this many deputies. But it wouldn't have mattered because Miss Stephanie wasn't going to make sure that she secured the deputies for the event. Now they're saying that the party organizers then allegedly turned to social media, right? Once they realized like, girl, she done breached this contract or whatever, they started hyping people up to meet them at the skating rink. And then they decided to riot against the business and the law enforcement officials that came down there. So they went down there to show they ours. Okay. So Miss Stephanie ended up getting charged with 1 count each of inciting a riot, unlawful use of two-way communication device, and driving with a license suspended, canceled, or revoked. You're doing all of this and you ain't even got your license in order, girl. Oh, child. They said this lady, according to the owner, he said this lady could have got somebody killed. God forbid someone pulled out a gun. And he right. He right. I agree. She definitely could have got somebody killed. 1000% could have got somebody killed. And it didn't even have to be a GUN on site. Somebody could have got thrown and got their head cracked on the cement or something. You know what I'm saying? It could have been anything. Y'all got skates in there. Somebody could have used as a weapon. Anything could have happened to where somebody could have lost their damn life. Okay. So Miss Stephanie, girl, this is on you and you just gonna have to take that L, and that's just on P. All right. Let's get into this here.
A Valrico mom is charged with inciting a riot over her daughter's birthday. You're watching 10 Tampa Bay. I'm Courtney Robinson.
I'm Frank Wiley. Hundreds of people involved in that riot in Brandon. I want to show you this right here because Stephanie Pedroso, pictured right there, is now one of more than 24 people arrested after the chaos. People were injured and businesses were damaged outside the Astro Skate Center in Brandon. 10 Tampa Bay's Aaron Parsegian joining us live outside the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office.
And Aaron, you don't hear about someone being charged with this often. It's pretty unique.
Yeah, charged with literally inciting a riot. The sheriff says this started because Pedroso was irate when her daughter's birthday party at that skating rink was canceled for breaching their contract. They failed to hire deputies to work security that night. The sheriff says Pedroso then went online and encouraged folks to still go down there and cause problems. And that's exactly what they did. Take a look at this video here that shows the chaos that ensued when crowds of hundreds of people began fighting all across that area of Brandon, breaking windows and forcing businesses to close their doors out of fear. It took deputies 6 hours to fully control that situation, something Sheriff Cronisher says wouldn't have happened if it weren't for Pedroso's actions.
At one point, she even tells all her followers and during her live stream that she has money and she's willing to pay individuals to come down and riot and cause destruction. Stephanie Pedroso intended to cause terror the evening of May 18th, and that's exactly what she did.
And her arrest concludes the investigation into that entire incident. If convicted, Pedroso faces up to 5 years in prison. Live in Hillsborough County, Aaron Parsegian, 10 Tampa Bay.
And see, first of all, baby, I think that she's going to end up being convicted, and she's going to be doing on 5 years, if not half, for showing her. It's okay. And then these people already got proof that you incited this by putting it over on your social media. And all of those people that's going down there, they're going to flip anyway because they ain't trying to be tied up in no mess. You heard them say they got also many kids or teens and also many adults that ended up getting arrested. They going to share the post. They going to show it was Stephanie. She was the one that called us to the front and told us to come over here and show our assistance. So we did. Okay. So ma'am, you might as well get cute and get comfortable, as you probably are going to be serving a little piece of time. Okay. Good luck. That is not a good example to set for the child. So when your child doesn't follow through and do her part when it comes to contracts and stuff like that, she's supposed to just ask people to show up for her to start causing chaos and like that. Girl, listen, you already know you can't do nothing like that. The only person that could get away with some like that, the only one is going to be Mr. Trump. Okay, that's what it's given. Mr. Trump is the only one that can do something like that. Okay. He has yet to fully be in trouble for the riot that was incited on the government building or whatnot back on January the 6th. Okay, so he has yet to be held accountable in my personal for that. He's able to still go out here and run for president again. Okay. Now y'all know this man that sat up there and he did a rally or whatever recently over the weekend over in Pennsylvania. And unfortunately for him, it resulted in him getting grazed in the ear. And also somebody else, two people dying from my understanding. The guy that hit him, the person that was trying to assassinate him, and then also another attendee at his rally. Very sad, very sad. I saw a lot of people on social media saying, dang, they missed. Now, how y'all missed? They was really upset, baby. If he would have moved his head a little bit more to the right, he would have been clapped the hell up out of here, girl. He would have been clapped the hell up out of here. Now, people are believing this staged. And let me tell y'all something. I don't know. I'm waiting for more details to continue to come out about this situation. I found it to be so interesting that I was hearing stories and reports saying that, oh, it was a 22 hand caliber, this or that. And I'm like, well, in order to use that, you're going to have to be at close range. And if you're within close range and you popped him, then people within the audience should have saw somebody standing up. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would have saw that, only for us to find out at a later time that no, the young man was somewhere, looked like he was lying on top of a storage container or whatever with a rifle or whatever he had when he shot him. Like, it was just like real weird. Okay. People are comparing the last time he had an incident like this, similar to this, where at a rally a few years ago, how the Secret Service responded in comparison to how they're responding now. People are believing that they are all actors, because in what world does Trump have the time to be able to stop and throw a fist up and promote and stuff? So, girl, I don't know what the hell to think. Okay, what I will say is this: when it comes down to faking things and making it be believable, in my personal, I feel like the lengths people will go through. Okay, movies and directors and all of those people are not the only ones that know how to stage and make some shit look believable and real. Okay, is what I will say. So I don't put nothing past nobody. Okay, for years they had us thinking 9/11 was somebody else. Okay, only for the more details and truth to fall out at a later time. So I honestly don't know what to make of this overall situation, aside from the fact that people are going to see Trump as like a woe is me person, like, oh man, y'all tried to clap him out of here, like that is so sad and this and that. And I do think that it's unfortunate in my personal, whether I like a person or not that's running for presidency. I don't think that, they should be clapped the hell out. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's really right, but I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all want to do anyway. If y'all want to stand on business like that, because y'all be standing on business in the hoods, but George Zimmerman's still walking around. So if that's the type of business y'all want to stand on, then stand on it. Okay. We learned that the shooter was a young white male who happened to be a Republican, from my understanding. They said that he was a 20-year-old. His name was Thomas Matthew Crooks. All right. And they said that he was the suspected gunman. And then you seeing all this different stuff swarm around on social media where the people are alleging that that ain't him. Saying that young man is still here. He's still over there tweeting and everything. So I don't know what the hell to make of it. Okay. I'm not sure. But what I can say, I do believe the blood that was on the attendees that were standing up and walking down, and the fact that you see them grabbing like the person that died, like the bullet was definitely real. Now, whether the overall situation was staged and they didn't care who they, hit, and whether anybody got clapped, I don't know. The verdict is still out. I mean, the verdict is still out on whether it was staged or not, So y'all gonna have to let me know y'all thoughts on that. But somebody definitely died. I feel bad for them, whoever they was. Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? You just went to this little rally or whatnot, and then you got clapped the hell out. Like, if you can't go to Bella Noches, where the hell can you go? Well, you can't go to no damn Trump rally because, child, they gonna been to try to get you the hell up out of here. Now they say Trump says to stand united as FBI investigates the shooting of the assassination attempt. All right, so let us get into what they're saying over here on the Washington Post, child. So what they're saying is the former president Donald Trump on Sunday urged Americans to stand united after the shooting Saturday night at his rally in Pennsylvania. The FBI is investigating the incident as an assassination attempt. Okay. They named the gunman. They said that Trump did survive the attack. He was shot with a bullet that pierced the upper part of his right ear. Okay. So now it looks like they are going to be increasing security at Trump's events. They also go into what they know about the shooting at the rally. And of course, Trump thanks the supporters or whatnot. Now, this is what's also interesting. Now, one rally attendee was killed and 2 others were critically injured, and the suspected shooter is dead. Now, they said the suspected shooter used an AR rifle, 15 style semi-automatic rifle. And that's interesting because, like I said, reports started to swarm yesterday, immediately following from reputable people trying to say that it was a caliber. Okay, it was a caliber, that a 22 caliber or whatnot that was used on Trump. And I'm like, some of that is not necessarily making sense. Okay, that was not really adding up to me. But okay, so now they're giving us more details. And it's so quick how the information flows around. All right. But yeah, so that's what they're saying. That's what happened to Trump. And they said he flew back to New Jersey where he was seen exiting the plane and stuff. So I guess he might be getting his stuff together and gearing up to go, to the next location to continue his race. All right. A lot of people I do feel are going to take pity on Trump and make it feel, appear as though like, woe is me. I can't believe this happened. I'm going to vote for him because I feel bad. If you guys are trying to go this far to take him out, then, he must be a good president or whatever the hell they got going on. So, child, y'all going to do what y'all want to do anyway, because it's just how y'all is. Okay. But in the meantime, I'm going to also do what I want to do too. And that is to get into this conversation just a bit where there is a Yale graduate. Shout out to her. I believe her name is Daria. And she goes into detail about like Project 2025 and things like that. So I definitely want to play that on this video. I think this is a good time after this Trump situation has happened. I want to play that so that you guys can get more of an understanding of, the Project 2025 and more. Okay. There's more that she's also going to be talking about. So let me go ahead and get this video up. Make sure that you guys are indeed liking up the video so that we can, let the people know that we here. All right. So
the Supreme Court has officially overturned Chevron deference. This is probably one of the most important Supreme Court decisions in modern history. And if you don't know what Chevron is, that's okay. They don't really teach it in schools, but I'll explain it to you. I graduated from Yale Law School where I focused in constitutional law, so I'll try to decode this rather simply because you need to know how this works. So basically, Chevron deference dates all the way back to 1984 in the Reagan era. It was a major Supreme Court case having to do with the EPA, where the court essentially ruled that where a rule or statute is ambiguous, the federal courts must defer to an agency's interpretation of that rule. Most day-to-day life and functions for you and I are run by federal agencies. For example, the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, makes rules about clean air and the environment. The FDA makes rules about food, the CDC, the Department of Education, the Department of Transportation. We have the FBI, the IRS, the VA, the list goes on and on. They essentially run our country, and that's who we, the people, interact with the most. Now, here's the kicker. The leaders of these agencies are not elected. They're appointed by the executive branch, the president, which means when a president or the administration changes, the rules and the leaders of the agencies generally change. So they'll flip-flop from Democrat to Republican, and back again. Anyway, most Republicans and libertarians absolutely despise Chevron deference. They believe it gives government and agencies way too much power, and especially for people who are not elected. Still, the idea is that these people are experts, doctors, scientists, whoever, and they should know best how to interpret the rules. And because there are so many rules and so many functions and so many people in the United States, it just makes sense to have experts and specialists cover them. But the court today completely did away with that and said, nope. The case is Loper Bright Enterprises versus Raimondo, who is the Secretary of Commerce. The court's holding is highlighted below. The APA requires courts to exercise their independent judgment in deciding whether an agency has acted within its statutory authority, and courts may not defer to an agency's interpretation of a law simply because a statute is ambiguous. Chevron is overruled. The decision was split 6-3, conservatives on one side, liberal justices on the other. And Kagan in her dissent is like, this is absolutely crazy. She writes, what actions can be taken to address climate change or other environmental challenges? What will the nation's healthcare system look like in the coming decades? Or the financial or transportation system? What rules are going to constrain the development of AI? The court has basically taken all regulatory power away from these agencies in the federal government and placed it into their own hands. This also gives power back to private organizations and corporations. For example, say the EPA has a rule about where you can dump your waste in products, and BP or some other oil company is like, hey, we don't like this because it's super expensive. We're just going to dump our oil wherever we feel like it, wherever it's cheaper. This makes it a lot harder to control their actions. This is most likely going to save a lot of money for some very rich people. Conservatives have been trying to get rid of this for years, and they've finally done it. This is a huge win for DJT today. We need to talk about it. Project 2025. What is it? Who wrote it? Where did it come from? The entire far-right blueprint is 920 pages and 30 chapters. You're not going to read all that. I don't expect you to. And if you haven't even heard of Project 2025, that's okay too. But you do need to know what's in it because it's pretty terrifying. Think a playbook for Handmaid's Tale, essentially turning the US into Gilead. I've looked for some good, easy explanations of Project 2025, and there really aren't that many. This is going to be the most comprehensive and simple explanation of 2025 that you're going to get. So background, Project 2025 dates back to 1973. That's when the Heritage Foundation, a very powerful conservative think tank based in Washington, D.C., was founded. They are the writers and the architects of Project 2025. And their main mission and goal is to move America to a more far-right Christian nationalist state. They originally came to prominence when they wrote their first manifesto in 1981 titled A Mandate for Leadership. And get this, those very same policies were the ones that were used and implemented in the Reagan administration. Seriously, around 60% of the 2,000 proposals written in the manifesto were implemented by Reagan. So now they're back again with a new edition, and this new edition is known as Project 2025. And it's supposed to provide guidance for the Don or whoever becomes the next Republican president. And these 900 pages and 30 chapters were written by professors, doctors, scientists, lawyers, scholars on each subject. And they've divided Project 2025 into 4 main pillars. The first is policy, which is this big book. The second is personnel. They're creating this huge conservative database, think LinkedIn, but for DJT loyalists. The third pillar is training. They set up this online educational system called the Presidential Administration Academy, where they teach their views and ideology in a course. And the fourth is called Playbook, which is an action game designed for how they're going to get everything done. Now let's get into some of the very concerning things on their wish list for DJT's second term. Starting off strong on pages 450 to 503, they're calling for a complete ban on abortions. Not very shocking. Page 319, they're saying the Department of Education should be eliminated. And in addition to calling for its elimination, they state that any school that requires a vaccine or mask mandate will not receive federal funding. Page 482, eliminate the Head Start program. Page 675, calling for the elimination of NOAA and the National Weather Service. Because these organizations, and I quote, have become one of the main drivers of climate change alarm industry and as such is harmful to the future U.S. prosperity. Page 133, they call for the complete dismantling of the Department of Homeland Security. In addition, they argue for the elimination of the FBI along with the Department of Justice. Page 5, they call for a complete ban on corn, writing that corn should be outlawed, the people who produce and distribute it should be imprisoned, and anyone else who participates or facilitates it should be registered. Page 104, reverse policies that allow transgender individuals to serve in the military. Gender dysmorphia is incompatible with the demands of the military service, and the use of public monies for transgender surgeries or to facilitate abortion for service members should be ended. And there's so much more, including the possibility of ending birthright citizenship, banning African American and gender studies in all levels of education, calling for an ending of any DEI programs, getting rid of gay marriage, ending the Affordable Care Act, and it also calls for the mass deportation of immigrants and proposes a plan to round up illegal migrants and lock them up and put them in camps. But perhaps one of the most troubling and well thought out plans is the move to reclassify federal workers under what is known as Schedule F. Now, I'm going to get a little HR heavy, but please stick with me because it's so important. Now, there are 2 types of federal employees. The first group are merit-based workers. These are career positions. These people have earned them through going to school, getting work experience. They're either considered experts or they could be a part of the support staff. These people are hired because they know their stuff. Think an engineer at NASA or a scientist at the FDA. And their federal jobs have protections. Now, the other class are at-will or appointed workers. These employees tend to serve at the pleasure of the president or the administration, which basically means they can be fired or replaced at any time. To put it all in context, there are about 2 million of the first class of merit-based employees, and only about 4,000 political appointed ones. Under this new plan of Schedule F, they'd reclassify a bunch of the regular civil servants into political appointees. That way the Don can replace them with loyalists. Now, how does replacing all of these people help him carry out his plan? Let's do an example. Under Schedule F, DJT could take a scientist at the FDA, fire him, and then replace him with, let's say, a scientist who wouldn't give clearance to birth control or the abortion pill, therefore making it illegal and inaccessible without having to go through the courts, without having to go through Congress. By the way, they specifically lay this out in the plan in the 900 pages. Now, remember what I said about the whole conservative LinkedIn? That's the database they're going to use to fill these positions. A bunch of unqualified loyalists. And in October of 2020, actually, DJT tried to do this. He tried to implement Schedule F. He signed it into order, but then he lost in November. And the whole thing was pretty much a secret, but Biden then immediately repealed it. But if he wins this time, they say it'll be one of the first acts of his presidency. Now, the Don has come out and said he doesn't know anything about this Project 2025 and has been trying to distance himself from it. But at least 26 authors and people who are associated with Project 2025 served in his very own administration, including Russ Voigt, John McKinty, Stephen Miller, and many others. Also, his own platform, Agenda 47, just sounds like a SparkNotes version of Project 2025. The president of the Heritage Foundation is calling Project 2025 the new American Revolution. The second DJT term could lead the way.
All right. So y'all just heard what all she said, Miss Ma'am. Definitely, girl, she done told y'all some things, honey. Okay, I think she gave some good cliff notes for those that do not want to read the full 900 pages or whatnot, because let's be honest, everybody ain't gonna read. They just not gonna do that. Okay, but hopefully you guys can find more content and videos on Project 2025, because like she said, like, it's really for whichever president is in office. So if he don't get it this time and then somebody else runs as a Republican, their goal is to create that, like she said, that LinkedIn, that conservative LinkedIn or whatever, so they can pull people accordingly in different positions, and they can go ahead and get their missions pushed forward. Okay. And so I just wanted to make sure that I shared that. You guys can definitely go over to her her TikTok page, and let me make sure that I have the right TikTok name, because she also has more info over there, but it's Daria Rose, DARIA ROSE, and that is 2 words. So hopefully y'all pull her up, and then you'll be able to find more videos over there where she's talking about a lot of Project 2025 and political things. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I bring that to you guys. All right, continue the conversation down below. Let me know your thoughts about everything that we just talked about. I am Jami, that's me. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos, follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Jami, that's me, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rag. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler, the flood out the net. We don't do beef for computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. With drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I've been dropping these haters like calories. First I'm out, I came back with some batteries. Stand for my honor, but you run no corner.